When we look at the emerging distributed energy resources model that people are talking about and how those systems can participate in electricity market pricing, we think that some of the changes in market pricing that we see moving to hourly based both delivery and supply metrics for both energy and capacity, that will really help define and incent commercial accounts to look at how their load is affected and how they can affect their load to optimize the economic savings for them in conjunction with load reduction when the grid really needs that sort of support. So it really ties the two elements together. How do you incent properly the behavior that's needed to reduce load and ensure load reduction during critical power events? Well, so the REV initiative is labeled the distribution system operator. Who will be operating the distribution system would be known as the distribution system platform provider. We think that market has already been structured from a standpoint. If you look at the wholesale markets where there are RTOs or ISOs that already have developed price-based mechanisms for pricing wholesale electricity, that whole model can be transformed down into the distribution system operators mode as well, where it's really looking at how do they incent based upon pricing models the types of behavior they need from customers to react and how to manage their load and when power is expensive and when power is inexpensive, and how to reshape the whole load duration curve here in the city. Right now, with all new emerging technologies, everybody is focused on cost, and cost. It's all about cost that is holding back the expansion of these technologies, and I just frankly disagree. I think the model should be more focused at how do we take a just-in-time inventory system, add in a resource that now transforms that to a managed inventory system, and where does that show value in the problems that it's solving? You know, if you look at the challenges in Brooklyn, Queens, there's a sub-transmission line that is being overtaxed about 48 hours out of the year, basically 4 summer days in a regular year where the load from noon to midnight exceeds the capacity of that transmission line. And my belief is that through pricing structures, there's a lot of value during those critical power days to provide incentives through pricing, be it rate structure or whatever, that would allow commercial operations to take advantage of that critical pricing period to leverage how they would reshape their load to help soften the impact of basically the residential air conditioning load that's creating the problem. I think there are ways to incent behavior through pricing that drives from a value perspective, and let's worry less about a cost perspective. We already leverage from an energy supply perspective for our customers hourly pricing in the day-ahead market. So there are fundamentally 2 components to electricity and power pricing for a commercial account. It's the cost of their supply and then the delivery charges through the local distribution system operator. And so already from supply, we can purchase that electricity, that energy at an hourly based rate. And that drives a lot of our economics and thinking about how we're going to operate. That same methodology could be ported to and applied for the delivery side of the equation, where there may be an element from an energy perspective and an element in pricing from a power perspective. So delivering power or capacity at 4 p.m. is much more expensive for the operating utility than it is at 4 a.m. And we think that you could take that existing market model that's out there in the wholesale generation, where we buy and base our power on a day-ahead index rate, and move that sort of model into the distribution system operator model as well. Well, in today's discussion, I think we had a lot of good feedback and a lot of input from how you can look at things from a holistic picture and how we can reshape the energy markets around here and drive them into true value-based propositions for all involved. If you look at some of the terms that fly around, transactive energy markets or performance-based rate making, the old days of allowing total cost to be put into the cost structure along with a guaranteed rate of return, I think those are old models. There are ways that a utility can be incentive through performance-based rate making, be it better asset utilization of existing assets. If we can put extra generation online at night by creating load through storage, we could move variable load generation into base load generation. And then it could move through transmission when it's not congested. It'd be lower losses through there. Move it through the distribution when it has lower losses, which occur overnight when there's a lot of capacity in the distribution line. Cache and store that energy and then release it during the peak periods of the day when typically we would have to fire up peaking generators to supply that. We'd have to move that energy through the transmission lines and the distribution lines when the losses are the highest, incurring even further cost structures out there. It's really transforming that model again from a just-in-time inventory model to a managed inventory and organized operation.